Okay, my producer. It's a little slow. All right, coaches, welcome back to the Championship Vision podcast. This is episode 334, Coach Martin. So we're here to learn, man. We're here with really an excellent basketball mind, Coach Bob Martin. He is currently the coach at Pickens County, but we're going to talk about his run at Kings Ridge and what he did to build that program. But specifically, we're going to talk about his screening game offense. Bob, welcome to the podcast, my friend.
Thank you, Coach. I appreciate you.
Absolutely. I had the privilege of coaching against Bob in a summer league game at Walnut Grove, where he took over the girls program and really outcoached the Walnut Grove coach, Kevin Furtado, in that game, even though we pulled away. But I definitely saw his daughter had tremendous talent, but you did a good job with that group, man.
Hey, threes are worth more than twos, right?
Exactly, man. But Bob, tell us about how you started in the game, like where you grew up, your mentors. Talk about your past a little bit so we can learn a little bit about you.
Yeah, I'll try to do this without rambling on. Stop me if I do, please. But I'm originally from Indiana, and I've had great opportunities. I've never had a bad teaching job, and I've never been in a bad situation as a coach with guys that I've worked with, however you want to say it. But started out at Muncie Burris when I was in college, and started as a volunteer 7th grade assistant. On the boys' side was my roommate that went to school there. His name's Keenan Temple. He's been a head coach here in Georgia, but we graduated from Ball State together. And so we started that, then moved up to JV in the same program, ended up at Concord High School up in Elkhart, Indiana, which is my hometown, and coached under Ron Dietz. So I learned a lot of UCLA type stuff and different schemes defensively, which is pretty awesome. It's Northern Lakes Conference for you Northern Indiana folks. Most people around here have no idea what I'm talking about, but
that's right.
If you're from that region, you understand that it was some excellent coaching. So I would attribute a lot of my learning and education from Bruce Robbins at Muncie Burris. He taught me a lot about motion and just basic man-to-man defensive principles. Coach Dietz from Concord High School, UCLA offense, different schemes defensively. And then I moved on to Indianapolis Ron Colley. I got my first teaching and coaching job combined, and paid a whopping $24,500, which is pretty awesome. But it was a great school, and those kids played hard. Matter of fact, our first game we played, we had 7 charges taken in that game.
Nice.
And these kids, they were tough. From there, I moved back home to Elkhart Memorial High School with probably one of my greatest mentors, Stephen Johnson. And Coach Johnson was just an amazing human being. He taught me a lot about life and challenged me every day to be great. He would always ask why, and for me to explain some concepts that were swirling around in my young mind, right? And then from there, just on the hunt for a head coaching job, which brought me to Georgia. So I went to Glenn Academy down in St. Simon's Island area, Brunswick area, and worked with Dan Moore. And that was post Kwame Brown era. But Dan was he's a very good coach, and he would just let these boys play and kind of within his own sets and his structure, but super athletes. And I learned just to kind of relax a little bit from going from Northern Indiana, where we like to control a lot of stuff. And we talk about shot selection and 10 turnovers or less. It was more wide open and let the athlete be the athlete. From there, I moved back to Indiana because I got what I thought was my dream job at Hamilton High School, just outside of Fort Wayne. Amazing school, loved it, hard work, but my heart was still back in Glenn County. So I went back there with Coach Moore for another 6 years. Did some college stuff at Coastal Georgia. They let me join their staff, and I learned from them a lot. Gerald Cox, which is a pretty familiar name here in the state of Georgia, won a lot of games as a junior college coach. Mm-hmm. I learned the junior college ranks. I learned the NAIA 4-year ranks and how to transition into all that. Was pretty fun. And then ended up at Lambert once our kids got older, and I got to work with Scott Bracco, which is become a very good friend of mine. we're pretty much a carbon copy of one another in terms of our kids' ages and our interest. And we had a lot of fun just hanging out and coaching. One of my best friends of all time, Keenan Temple, was over there. So we had a great staff. It was like a coaching clinic every day. It was awesome. And Coach Brack, I will say this about every coach that I've ever worked with they've always given me the freedom to kind of explore and work within their system. I think that's probably the biggest growth piece. And I try to do that with my own coaches. I'm not as good as my mentors at doing that. I need to get better at that, honestly. But from Coach Bracco at Lambert, the Kings Ridge job opened up and somebody approached me about that. And I wanted to get back into head coaching again. And this opportunity presented itself. And one thing leads to another. And here we are at Pickens and winning a state championship. But I'm telling you right now, I couldn't have done it without all of those guys combined. Every single one of those guys that I worked with helped mold and shape me and make me like a better coach, a better person. All the advice they gave me was it's immeasurable. Matter of fact, Bruce Robbins from Muncie Burris, he watched film for us going into the Pisgah game. And I just wanted another set of eyes, somebody that had no emotional investment in this thing. And he gave me some really awesome feedback, and he just helped us game plan for this game.
Coach, man, he has some great mentors, man. I love Indiana basketball, by the way.
I try to infuse a lot of it in what we do.
Yeah, no doubt, man. And talk about, you mentioned a really important thing. You mentioned about the structure of Indiana basketball has such a great tradition of well-coached, disciplined teams. And then you mentioned that, hey, there's two different ways to play the game. You mentioned the kind of the freedom, almost freedom versus structure. Yes. Am I wrong, Coach? Talk about
you're correct.
Where you kind of fit in with all that.
So when I first got my first head coaching job, I was extremely structured. Like the best compliment somebody could give me was they don't take bad shots, right? Well, my definition of a bad shot then and now are vastly different. And I'll kind of explain. We would chart everything when I was in Indiana, and we'd talk about you've got to be 7 out of 10. You want to be this great shooter. And if you don't pass out of this rule, I only had 2 guys on that team that were allowed to shoot a 3. And then everybody else they had their spot where they were really good, but we knew exactly who was going to shoot it, where they're going to shoot it. Anyways, with that being said, now I evolved through, like Coach Moore and Coach Bracco. They really helped me kind of loosen the reins. Kids love to shoot the ball. To me, basketball is a game of expression, right? It's kind of an extension of who you are and what your personality is. So it's a beautiful game in that regard. But what is a good shot and what is a bad shot now? 2 different. I want to take more shots in a game. I believe if we take more shots in some cases, we'll get higher percentage shots on the second chance, right? And I actually chart that stuff nowadays to see if we miss a 3 in transition, I want to know what the result is. Mm-hmm. Did it result in an offensive putback? Did it result in an offensive rebound in another great attempt? Did it result in defensive transition in a stop because we took the right shot? And then did we get another opportunity to get another great shot? So we've introducing this type of stuff to Pickens, the players here. We went early on this summer, we're talking about how many ways we can shoot a 3. And I mentioned 14 ways we can shoot a 3 and 1 way we can't shoot the 3. And I'm like, don't focus on the 1, celebrate the 14. And it's simple stuff. Everybody knows it, but we just explain to these kids how many opportunities they really have to be a great shooter.
Well, it sounds like a fun style. We're going to kind of dive into your screening game.
Yeah.
But talk a little bit about your style of play. Are you guys more transition oriented, open, pressing, more half court? Talk a little bit about that on that. But I have my friend good Matt Smith, and he says, man, this guy, Bob, is so smart. He picked up like 2 or 3 things, I think, from going back and watching your state championship game. He said, man, he runs some great zone offensive stuff.
Yeah.
And I said, I got to get Bob on, man, to learn some stuff, man.
So Matt and we talked the other day, and he came over and visited us here at the school.
Yeah.
I always learn something from Matt. It's impressive. Every time I talk to somebody, I walk away with a couple key things that I like to apply to my life or to basketball somehow.
Yeah.
So, but So the question was, what do you want? What is my philosophy on just basketball in general, right?
Yeah, talk about that first. Then we're going to dive into your screening game, because that's what you're going to talk about at the clinic. But I want to know, like, what are you guys about? How do you play the game?
So here's what we want to do. So in order to get players excited, we want to shoot the ball, because if you don't get excited about shooting the ball and making shots, I don't know that you really are going to enjoy the game of basketball. Now, not everybody can do that. We're going to need a couple, more rebounders, but they're also going to want to rebound so we can shoot the ball.
Right.
And so it's all about interpretation and how you receive it and how we break it down. So early on, we just talk about how we're going to test out of shots. In like this summer, we spent a considerable amount of time just shooting the ball, and we taught him proper form, footwork, and spacing, and how to load up and how to prepare just to shoot the ball. So we want to start with that, right? And then we have to add spacing, and then we add ball movement, and then we add what are we going to do once we receive the ball, and how are we going to deliver the ball? Now, all that sounds very simple, but it's very technical to a certain degree, right? So in a nutshell, in all honesty, I know that sounds very simple, Coach, but that is our offense. And I know sometimes people want to hear a little bit more elaborate type thing, but we teach how to get open one-on-one. We teach how to recognize the second defender and the third defender. Right. We teach how to rip and go to get that drift, and then the +1 or the 45, little things like that. If you watch the Spurs and you watch the Warriors when they were really on top of their game, we try to mimic that. And I really like the European game because I like the ball movement. They actually stat and chart the amount of time the ball is in your hands in games. Okay. I've heard that before. So we look at that a lot. And then, of course, we screen, and we have to have action. I want all 5 guys playing defense at the same time. Our opponent has got to play defense. If we're standing away from the ball, then we're not making people we're not making them work hard enough. I think in the state championship game, I thought we did a pretty good job of keeping both sides active with a proficient guy on top with the ball. And that person would be different. It was either Isaac Martin or Jaden Cole or Zach Thomas, and in some cases, Jack Thomas, right? So little things like that help us build and grow. And it also gives them a lot of freedom to make their own decisions, if that makes any sense to you.
Makes a lot of sense. We're going to see some video clips here in a second, Coach. Sure. I'm kind of a visual guy, so I got to see it. Yeah. See it in action. But hey, before you do that, we play on a very aggressive system. My girls, I'm at Commerce now. We press on me to miss shots. We do shoot a lot of threes, but we're not making them yet. But we do, like today in our workouts. We have a certain number of shots that we're going to take. We have some different spots, but I teach lock and load, hop and hold. Yeah. I know that it's simple, but I believe in the hop is the going off 2 feet. How do you teach shooting? Well,
so I'm not opposed to both. So the way I was brought up, I was always ingrained with you have to use both feet. So if you're a right hand and a left hand person, you need to be a right foot and a left foot person. So coming off a down screen, we'll go inside foot. Maybe coming off a flare screen, we want to probably get to the spot and probably hop, lock and load, like what you're talking about. Yeah. And in transition, it doesn't really matter to me, because in transition, you're probably going to have enough time to set up to probably go 1-2 step. And some players are just better, like my daughter. I work with my daughter a lot, and then my 2 sons. My 2 sons, they can go right, left, right really well. Bella does it really well also, but when we start going off the dribble and getting into the paint, she's more of a 2-foot finish kind of person. Right. So we like to hop into a lot of stuff with her. So really what it comes down to is I like to just look at the player. I'm not going to try to force a player to do something that their body doesn't naturally accept, if that helps answer the question. Yeah, for sure. Coach, let's get right into the offense. And if you can bring up those clips, man, just coach me up a little bit here, man. Okay. So help me out, Coach, with this technology here. I'm going to share this.
You
And
already passed. There you go.
I'm telling you what, I'm just going to kind of walk through this play by play. This
For
is
sure.
these are the 16 assists from, does that show up okay on the screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Perfect.
So what we have here are 16 assists from our state championship game. And I'll just kind of walk you through this, right?
Okay.
So if you don't mind if I stop and pause from time to time,
No.
you can ask me questions. This
Yes,
first
sir.
one you're going to see is a flare screen from, so we have Micah posting up and we have William Job, number 23 there at the top in our space. And we have a 3-man game on one side and we've got a 2-man game happening on the other side.
Okay.
And can you see my cursor at all?
I can. Yes, sir.
So here's Jack Thomas, and he's going to step in and set a nice little flare. But we have occupied here, and here's what we like to look at. What is this backside help going to do? Are they? So we know we can go one-on-one here, right? So let's see how this transpires. So that's just a pop right here. This next play would probably be here's one. Post feed, one-on-one. It was just a 2-man game, right? So we'll take a look at that. The previous one was, and this is transition here, if you see that. So we have all 5 guys. I can try to back this up if you want.
Okay.
Here's more of a back screen. You see that right there?
Right.
And I can back this up and replay it if you like. But these are going to be kind of quick. This is the rip and go we talk about. Micah goes to the front of the rim, and we have a player spotting up in that drift spot that we call the drift spot. And this is just a catch and shoot. They played off of Micah. Micah doesn't really take that shot. He was just feeling it. And I'm not gonna be mad at him for making threes. This is Isaac on an inbound play where a guy just kind of got caught on his hip and he spun on him a little bit.
For sure.
And this is a +1 action that we work on quite a bit right here. I know this is kind of going fast, and I'll try to replay this and go again. Transition. We want to lock and load and shoot there.
Hey, Coach, can I ask you, can you pause it for a second?
Yes, sir.
Transition. I guess I'm more of a transition coach. Do you sprint? I mean, what do you look for? We sprint to the corner.
Yeah.
The reason why is that we're never really going to get that corner shot, but it kind of really forces and spreads the defense out. It really spaces. And a lot of times we will get a wing shot, but we always try to get our girls sprinting to the corner. That's why we call it a corner fast break.
Yeah.
What do you do with your wings?
So in transition, so we have a dead ball transition and we have a live ball transition. And we're really good when I can get 3 guards out there that can interchange in a live ball rebound rather than a dead ball situation. We're going to be pretty good. And so here's what we initially try to do. Let's just go. The basket was made, and now everybody's going to be in a numbered system. So our 2s and 3s can be interchangeable. Our 4s and 5s can be interchangeable. And sometimes when we're really good, our 1 and 2 and maybe our 3 can also serve as the point guard. It's just kind of pace and feel of the game where you're at. But that's a pretty high level game of basketball right there, which I thought we were doing at the end of the season, the last 5 games. I thought we were really rolling together. So to answer your question officially, we want to run our lanes wide. Most of these high schools have a volleyball pole hole where that is. We're going to hit that before half court. And we're going to run directly up the sideline outside the 3. So we're not going to ever try to run into the 3. We're going to run, like you said, heading to the corner. We might go to the corner and lift a little bit, but more than anything, I want to catch that where we also have an opportunity to catch, rip and go baseline, catch and shoot, or catch and go middle. If we go corner, I think sometimes that takes away our rip and go baseline. So we call it a deep wing. So if you go mid post extended, maybe slightly below that, we'll take that and we'll give ourselves space there to, like I said, we like to catch, rip and go a lot. And so we work extremely hard on that. And then we'll have the opposite corner field. And then our trail man will be coming in the opposite slot. And we can go drift to a +1 with a trail 3 coming from 4-man. And then from that point, we've already started our screening game. So we might have a down screen already happening, or a flare screen or a back screen coming from the 5-man that rotated over. All this is kind of talking kind of fast here, but that's the way the game's played, right?
Sure.
Aggressive. So we run our lanes wide and we run them quick. Our first 3 steps are our most important steps on offense and defense. We want to go 1, 2, 3, and then kind of pace into our shot. So we want to get out ahead of you in the first 3 steps on offense. And I think it takes time. It does take time because a lot of kids want to stop and want the ball first, right?
Right. Okay.
So how about I do this, Kevin? You with me right now?
Yes, sir.
So how about I do this? I'm going to kind of watch this. I'm going to show you this right here. This
Okay.
is where I'm kind of back it up again and kind of slow down and explain this a little bit more. But you see, we have like a 3-man game here and a 2-man game here. Zach looks like he's going to step in and set a flare screen,
Okay.
and Jay is flaring out here. What'll happen is the screener is always on the hunt for the ball, right? So in this case, Zach shows that he's going to screen, confuses the defense just a little bit, and then he shapes up to the ball. And
Love
Zach,
it.
he's just a hard worker. This kid, he wanted to win this game so bad. He was not going to let us lose this game. We had 5 and 6 guys that really held each other to a high standard. So that looks very simple. And of course, that is a very deep 3.
Right.
But hey, when you work on your shot, you make a lot of shots, right?
Exactly right.
And so with that, you can see how just the movement on the backside helps. This one here is just a post feed. And the key part here is that we have spacing. Isaac should be moving here a little bit. We always like to play a little bit higher than most, I think.
Right.
And Micah, they played one-on-one with Micah in there. And we were hoping if they collapse, he's good enough, he's going to kick it. But if it's one-on-one, he's going to take it to you pretty hard, right? And I think in this case, it's a nice shot by Micah. He was just on fire that game. And I appreciate that. I tell Micah, thank you a lot. And again, this one here is that's a basic transition. Micah does a great job rim running. And you could see we had all of our guys spaced out. We sprinted ahead, and Micah just happened to be there. And
So
then
does he sprint ball side? Does he sprint rim, down the rim line, or does he go opposite?
So
what do you sprint?
We talk about rim running.
Okay.
You have to try to hit the nail. Once you hit the nail, you have to make a decision what you're supposed to do at that point.
Okay.
So if there's we call it a 1-3 lob, like a skip pass over the top, or it goes 1-2, that kind of thing, then he'll adjust to where the ball is. But we generally like to keep them opposite block.
Okay.
Because we want to rip and go, and then he'll slide in front of the rim. But in this case, we advanced the ball quick enough, and Micah was able to catch a guy kind of lunging or getting over the top on defense, and he was able to turn and just make a play in this case here. This one here, y'all see that? Did you see that?
Yeah, yes, sir.
So what in this case here, let me try to back this up just a touch, Coach. You have to forgive me because I don't have just a little bit more. You might have to see a replay of this again. Sorry.
That's okay.
I'm not working for ESPN anytime soon. I can tell you that.
No, that's fine.
So I'm gonna back this up even more for you. Just like, okay, there we go. Watch this, Coach. I get excited about this stuff because this is the stuff that we work extremely hard on right here. So Micah just makes that shot. So here's what we do. I'm going to slow this down.
Okay.
So here's our trail. Okay. We're just kind of flowing into our offense now. Isaac and Jaden are working together. We're trying to keep these 2 active. Micah steps up off the block and sets this back screen. And then, of course, this frees up right here. So we want to confuse the defense, right here. And Zach is very good at just simply using screens. He's officially a cutter. Isaac's a cutter screener. Jay's a cutter screener, designated screener, and designated screener. So it's like a mover blocker type stuff, the old Dick Bennett type stuff.
Yeah.
So here we go.
Yeah. Were they trying to switch that all game, or they?
So there was just confusion on the backside, I think. And Coach Hicksonball, he's good now. I give a lot of people credit for making us better. And I can tell you this right now. Coach Hicksonball made us better. He made us tougher because 2 years ago, they would just mop the floor with us. And we would walk out of there just a little more sincere about trying to get better and not be embarrassed by Mount Pisgah. So they would switch screens on us, which showed us that we needed to probably pop back to the ball more or get to an area on a slip. So I'll keep going if you want, Coach.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so there's that. And of course, Zach makes a nice cut and he squares up and finishes at the rim. Okay, next one here. And let's take a look. what do we have? This is just basic spacing. So we've got a kid that's probably getting ready to screen here. I'll take a look. This is a rip go. When we rip go here, we will slide to the corner and we will keep a 45. And this guy will just probably stay high and wide out of the way just because it works better for us. Micah's read is to go to the front of the rim because it opens up this right here. And when he goes to the front of the rim, Jay rips and goes. It'll free up this drift. It'll also free up this 45 right here. And if we call, there's terminology we use, he's going to rip and go, and we're going to surf this baseline. If he's shut off and he's shut off, Jay will surf this baseline and probably hook pass it back to Isaac here, if that makes any sense to you.
It does. Yes.
This is just basketball. I'm just telling you.
Yeah.
This, I got people ask me, hey, what do you do, Bob? And I'm like, listen, we try to create so many opportunities for spacing and just understanding the game that I want these kids to feel comfortable. So here's how it works. Zach kind of went in there. He probably could have shaded out. Isaac should have been over here probably a little bit. But I think in the end, what would have happened if Micah wasn't open, Nate would have been open, Zach would have popped, and Isaac probably would have been pass, and we probably would have had open three with two backside rebounders.
Right.
Or a backside rebounder and a guy that took the shot that could get back on defense. So little things like that are we try to really focus in on. And of course, Micah, I'm telling you, he was on fire, had the game of his life. Had the game of his life. And then this one we already talked about.
Yeah.
He's open. They dared him to shoot it, and he did. Micah, he just doesn't take many threes, but that was early in the game. And you see that? Did you see that there? It's an inbounds play that we run. It's usually to run Isaac to the corner. He played the cut to the corner. Isaac took him one step up and just sealed him and was able to make that play right there.
Yeah, that was a great read right there for sure.
That's his own play. This we just try to teach the game. Now that's just some +1 action that you see right there. It's kind of inside touch, +1 action, and then Jay hits it down. Jay shot 39%, 40%. Transition, check this out.
Yeah.
We have a rebound situation. I will say this, in this case here, this may not be the best transition shot, but I like it because all this space is open.
Yeah.
When this space is open, we have 1 and 2 guys. Nobody's really set on defense, right? So we have really 2 guys on the ball. This guy's probably going to be wide open for a rebound. This guy's probably going to be wide open for a rebound on offense. And then Isaac's going to be trailing here, so he can still get back. Or even I'll just say this, Kevin, is that if we get a rebound on this backside, the guy that's probably going to get the shot is Isaac, the trail man. And we always like to go back to this guy. I'm just giving away a lot of secrets here. So they have to listen to this to get these nuggets, because this stuff works. Yeah. It works for us, right? And I don't make this stuff up. I just steal it from everybody. What we found is that when we shoot the ball in transition, when the defense is not set, statistics say that we're going to get a lot more rebounds.
Right. That makes a lot of sense.
It's the truth. We statted a lot. So, and it gives our players a lot more freedom to shoot the ball, and it gives them incentive to sprint to the spot. So moving on to that, this is a very good play because number one, Zach is a great shooter, and we do have guys in rebounding position as this plays out, with a guy trailing if we need to get back, right? So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, and we've got a guy also back here kind of trailing the play.
Coach, can I ask you a question really quick?
Yes.
It looks like the closeout, I mean, it's almost like, he could show like a show and go. I mean, a hard drive baseline.
Yeah.
What do you teach your guys? Because that's a tough shot right there, because that big is right on him, it looks like.
Yeah, he is. But like I said, Zach, he was in his zone, and he was not going to lose this game. And to give them freedom, he knows that he sprinted the floor to get this shot. We do a lot of breakdown drills with these types of shots where we're just trying. There's no negative for a miss or even a bad shot in these drills. I just need you to feel comfortable sprinting down the lane and taking these shots, right? So here's the thing. You're right. Could he rip and go? But do we have a shooter in the corner, and do we have a guy at the 45 right here?
Right.
Well, I know if he knows that if he takes the shot, that these 2 guys are probably going to get the rebound. And here's a cool point here. It's like it'll probably end up in a rebound area from, triangle rebounding. So you got the backside block, you got the elbow area. The shooter can follow his own shot or get back, but they just can't stand. That's not an option. Don't stand. If you're standing, you need to get back on defense. And I give them an option to follow their shot. most kids are going to get back. There's only one or two kids in my career that could actually follow their shot and be successful at it without it being detrimental to the team. So what, long story short here is the ball will probably end up in Isaac's hands because everybody's down in here. Zach, his job right now is to stand here and we will look to him immediately and stat this. I don't know who I heard this from, but if you start statting this, any of you coaches out there start statting this, you will knock down 60% of your second attempts if you get that ball back to them immediately. It's the most amazing
go
thing.
over that again.
And our players,
go over that again real quick. What you just said.
So Zach, let's say Zach misses the shot. Let's say these two guys get the rebound. It ends up in Isaac's hands. Isaac knows that he's going to go directly back to Zach, the guy that just shot it. He will make 60% of his second attempts immediately following his miss, right? And you can stat that. If it's not 60, it might be 58%, but I'm okay with a kid shooting 60% from the three, right? And so we actually, so our players will start yelling. They just do this on their own. They just start yelling 60, 60, 60, and that's their cue to look back to that guy.
Okay.
It sounds ridiculous, but it works, right?
Love it.
So
yeah.
You want to move? You want to move on, Coach?
Yes, sir.
Okay. But you saw Micah's probably at the rim, so we talk about this. Hey, Micah, if you're under the rim, you're probably an inbounder, not a rebounder, right? You're under the rim, you're probably getting the ball when it goes through the net. That means you're inbounding and getting your offense going. But we want Micah to probably stop right here to help us. And look, there's William Job trailing, and Isaac's here. So if you know, it's just one of those things where we had all this space right here to get a rebound. And where's that ball typically going to go, Coach? It's going to fall on the backside. Is there any defense back here on this side?
Right. No.
And do you see where we're at? Who has the advantage on that backside rebound now?
Yeah, you guys for sure. Yeah,
we got the numbers. And what will happen is we'll chase this down. Okay. Call it whatever you want, what kind of rebound you want. We'll chase this down, and Zach knows we're going to try to find him right away. He just knows that. So he reloads and he spots up again.
Coach, do you send a lot of teams send 4 to the board? I mean, what's your philosophy on offensive rebounding?
So you can see right here in the film, Williams a trail. Isaac is also kind of I guess we'd call lead guard here. He pitched ahead to Zach. So we want to we always look at where does the shot go from? Like, where is it taken from? So in this case, Zach can follow, right? Micah probably should have went to the elbow front of the rim here. I think this is Jaden down here, and he did a good job hitting this block. So he's got it. Let's say if Jaden just held this guy, let's say he just bodied up on him and doesn't even jump. Does this kid, you think he's going to get a rebound?
Right.
If I just kind of not push him, but just make contact and hold him.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then, so now Mike is deep. So Williams' job is probably going to be here. Now, what do I do? Zach looks like he's going to get back. So it's Isaac and Zach have to read each other. Is the ball going to bounce on this side very often? Statistics say, no, it's not. Yeah, so here's the deal. We're not going to waste a whole lot of time running guys to the rim when they're going to be dunking on us. Right. So we'll definitely get Zach back and Isaac back at half court, or we'll get Isaac back and Zach back at half court, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
So what we're banking on is this right here. That's why I say if we get a rebound on the backside, Isaac's probably sprinting in and he's probably getting a trail 3 now on a rebound, it looks like. Mm-hmm. We call it 2.5 back because we get 2. And I would say this guy is probably a halfback kind of guy right here.
Okay.
And here's the thing. I don't know that you can recognize that we get back on defense, I think decently well. We don't like to give up a whole lot of transition points.
Right.
But we are very calculated in how we execute this backside space when a shot's taken. Does that answer your question?
It does. Yes, sir. Yeah. Yeah.
So we're very simple, but in the same breath, I think we're very technical about what we do. And kids will hold each other accountable to that. Like, hey man, you didn't tag the backside on that weak side rebound. You didn't cover your area. And it takes a while. Listen, Kevin, I was there for 5 years. It took us 3 years just to understand how to play the game of basketball.
Right.
The second year was better. We understood how to score a little bit better, but the whole concept of just playing it's fun to watch once they get it. It's really fun.
Yeah,
So
and that's part of
you want
the.
me to move on, Coach?
No, but I love that. I mean, you're really. I know it sounds kind of obvious, but you're teaching the game. You're not teaching plays. You're teaching kids how to play, and I love that. That does take more time, but when they get it, boy, they get it, don't they?
Well, the investment is heavy early. And then I just sit back and we talk like you and I would talk, right? So now I have coaches on the floor and I'm learning from them. They make plays that all the cuts that like Zach on that back cut, that's not a play. I think a lot of coaches might diagram that, oh, we got to stop this set. That's not a set at all.
Right.
That's just us catching and seeing the entire floor and making the right read, right? So it's fun. It takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of time. I've had coaches ask me, Coach, what do you do in, this situation? And he sent me a whole email about wanting to, kind of know what we do. I had my players answer the questions for me, right? And that's probably the most proud I've ever been as a coach, because the cool part was they were giving me what I thought to be the correct answers. And the one, Jaden Cole, is like, how do you get your offense to run so smooth and clean? And Jaden Cole, he just simply says, we just do it and do it and do it and do it. And coach gets on us and we do it. And then coach gets on us. And then finally we get it. And then everybody's happy. And he hit the nail on the head right there, because it's the truth. Right. We just go and rep and rep and rep and rep and rep until we screw it up so much that we get it all out of our system and we read every mistake that we could possibly make. And then we just learn not to make those mistakes. Right. It's hard. It is hard.
For sure.
But it's very beneficial in the end.
Yeah. Students of the game, for sure.
You want me to move on, Coach?
Yeah. And I love this, because I love this as coaches that are going to be listening, just in this one possession, the details. Do you think, and I know you're going to be at our Legends Clinic going over this, I think coaches need to be more detailed, not on just fabulous plays, but on the details, the off ball, the weak side rebound, the out, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The spacing. I love the details that you explained on just one possession.
Yeah. So, but we say this, but this is what our teachable moments are. We'll film our practices in our sessions. I'll set a time limit on our film sessions, but the cool part is we start quizzing each other in these games and in these films, in these film sessions about these games. That it's just like being at a miniature coaching clinic. Like what they have between their ears is amazing. The coolest compliment they give to me is, Coach, once the season's over and they go play in their travel basketball and they're like, Coach, man, we can't wait to get back in the gym. This is so uncomfortable for us. We love to share the ball. And I'm not trying to, throw any shade to anybody in that regard, but they get so comfortable and love it so much. And that just tells me that, we've got a group of kids that really buy in.
Absolutely.
So we move on, Coach?
Yes, sir. Yes.
All right. So we're about halfway through, but obviously Zach makes the shots. We love it when people make shots. Now look at this. This is what you're talking about. We have a trail man. We have our point guard, and we're going to read this. We're going to sprint our lane. So you're going to see Zach Thomas go on an 8-point run. This is the beginning of the third quarter. Zach sprints his lane. That was the first shot of the third quarter. He sprints his lane again. Notice he's on the opposite side because he read that. This is a live ball situation, and he's ready to shoot again. Now, is this a good shot by Zach? I say 100% yes, because where is the backside defense? Non-existent, right? And I think we'll still get that rebound over here, even if so. And then look where Jay's at. What's he doing? Do you see what he's doing on that backside rebound? And if it does miss, Coach, who's going to get the ball over here? Either Jay or Isaac right here. You see that? Now that sounds silly. If somebody asked me that and like, hey, Coach, what do you do in transition? I'll say, we just make sure we get backside rebounds. That's really what we do. But it does take, we'll break this down right here. This guy, we call it tagging the backside. And I get that, like from European teams, they do that right here. Isaac got his fourth foul at the end of the third by jumping on this. And you'll see that if you watch the film, you'll see that. But do we have pretty decent triangle rebounding? We got block, Isaac you could consider this triangle rebounding. Zach, well, we have William coming in too now. So if there takes an odd bounce, William will be over here in this slot area as well. So there's that same play.
Coach,
Go ahead.
Yeah, on this weak side rebound, on that weak side rebound there, do you try to, we call it wedging. And that is we try to get on the side hip of the weak side and just try to wedge her in to get the offensive outside rebound.
Yep.
How do you guys do that?
We want to create that space. So if you wedge them so that they're going to be going towards the backboard out of bounds, we don't want to wedge them to have that space above the backboard, right?
Right.
So yeah, we just call it tagging, and we'll teach a certain way that we do that. Do we get called for a couple fouls a game? Yes, because some of these guys will extend their elbow or they'll come in a little too aggressive and they'll push. But that's I don't get on them for that because that's what I teach them. And we're pretty successful using that. So, but it does come, nothing's perfect, right? Nothing's perfect, but it does get us, I'll say this, it gets us anywhere from 2 to 4 more possessions a game just by reading that.
Right.
And it gives our shooters confidence, right? So that's the transition piece. Now here's where we're at now. I believe Zach, this is going to be his 8th point. We're gonna curl this here. But you see, we went a dribble handoff. A lot of people were running at our wings a lot. So we had to come up with like a secondary style break. And so I got to spend some time with some the Grinnell coaches. We went up there and visited. They were interested in having Isaac up there. And he was asking, what do you do in transition if you can't get an early shot? You ever tried any dribble handoffs kind of thing? And I'm like, oh, it's a good idea. I like that. And I talked to Mick Hedgepeth up at Barry, and he shared some things with me about early offense and transition and what some other teams do that he studies. And he sent me some information that was very, very beneficial. And this was a big part of what we did last year, this past season, and the past 2 seasons. So Jack is trailing and Isaac and Jay are over here occupying the defense, right? Look where Micah is. Is he opposite block? Micah sees that there's a handoff. So Micah's going to come over here in transition. Jack is the trail and he's going to screen. Zach is a curl cutter. Zach instinctually likes to curl cut. And he's a big, strong kid. So he's able to cut anywhere he wants to go. If he was probably 20 pounds lighter, he'd probably get shoved into it like a straight cut. But because he works in a weight room and he's a stocky kid, he makes this happen. Jay's very cerebral. Isaac very cerebral. Isaac is probably going to sprint to this corner and just get out of the way. And then if you watch Jack will probably pop to the 3 because he already sees that there's somebody low on the inside. So again, these are not plays. These are guys just making plays, right? So watch this right here. Look at that. So he kind of hesitated and knew that the defense got caught behind him, and he just simply cuts right down the middle. What happens if this guy helps? He just dumps it off to Micah. Micah's got probably an and 1 layup. But Zach's very crafty. Jay, good spacing. Isaac, good spacing. Look where Jack is. He popped out to the 3. So now we're in a pretty good spot right here. Yes. And there you go. Kevin, I'm telling you, like, people ask me all the time, what do you do? And they wouldn't believe me if I told them anyways. And you see this last one here? We go early post feed. They collapse on him and he hits the 45 for the 3. Yeah, it's just so happens that we put a lot of time. It doesn't just so happen that we have guys that can shoot it well. We really put a focus on shooting. And so that Jack has taken thousands of times right here. Yeah. And look where Zach is. He's there. If both of them run at him, he's going to +1 that to Zach. And then look here, if Zach dribble drives, then he'll probably have Isaac over here for the drift, and he might go +1 to Jay right there. And we'll break you down somehow, some way in a 35-second shot clock.
Yeah.
And
Coach,
like,
how do your better teams defend that? So I'm looking at, you got shooters. So do your better teams stick to your shooters and just rely on this one-on-one matchup? I mean, what are the toughest ways that defenses try to stop you?
You should get Corey Black on here. He'll tell you.
Yeah. Right.
He murdered us, and we lost to them like by 2 or 3. And they were real physical. As I'll say, I'll give credit to Coach Black as well. I mean, that dude, they beat us up, and he really taught us the importance of the curl cut and making an extra pass to get a better angle for the curl cut. Okay. And they were just riding us off the 3 big time and forcing us to play one-on-one. Right. Our one-on-one basketball is a little bit different than everybody else's. Our one-on-one basketball is with a quick pass and a bad closeout. Then we rip and go one-on-one.
Okay.
Right. So how do people beat us? They make us play one-on-one.
Gotcha.
That's probably too big of a secret right there, but it forces us to get better. It just forces us to get better.
Absolutely.
And we were not ready for that. But because of St. Anne Pacelli and Coach Black putting that in front of us, we were able to, I think, do a really good job against Woodville Tompkins because they did the same thing to us. And there's some clips in there that I could show you that we got, I think, 3 consecutive slips because the 2 defenders got confused. And we kind of almost ghost it a little bit. We'd hold it for half a second. And Coach Furtado, we would be wide open underneath the basket. It saved us from a loss there in the Elite Eight game. You and I understand this stuff. It's if you get the kids to understand it, then you can sit over on the bench and enjoy.
That's right.
All right.
That's right.
I get excited I could talk about this all night. Now here's one of our favorite sideline out of bounds plays. It's just a back screen. And this young man right here, he just overplays it. Jack doesn't even really use the screen. There's a miscommunication on this action right here. We keep a big opposite. And this is a timely one. This is a very timely one because we were getting a little stagnant and Jack just goes in and flushes it.
I love that. Run that back, Coach. Run that back.
Yeah.
I'm definitely going to steal, but
hey, I stole it from somebody else, but so with this now, that's the first time we got that all season, by the way. So check that. Let me break this down for you.
Yeah, break it down.
So there's we only have like 2 or 3 out of bounds plays. We call them slobs and blobs like everybody else. And, but within those 2 or 3, we have like 7 reads. Okay. And so you can call them audibles, whatever you want, but I really try to teach what the reaction to the action is, right? So how are we going to read something? So in this case, I'm just going to give you the bones of it. We put a shooter out here, right? Okay. And I'll show you how this one works. And this guy is not going to play on the inside. So we're generally going to get open. This guy has got to throw this pass hard. You can't be soft with the pass here. You just won't happen. The timing here has got to be impeccable, or this group right here, the 2 defenders really have to have confusion. The read is to back screen here. You want to have your best finisher, your best big, your best shooter, and probably your best passer, your point guard here, if you want. In this case, Isaac is going to back screen, and then once we hit Zach, he's going to hit Jack on the dunk. Let's say this guy rotates over early, then he'll dump down to William for a nice little lay-in. So that's the basic of it all. And so if we don't get this here, then we'll run some other options out of it that will, these guys in our region, they all know this stuff, but the coaches can know it all day long, but your players they've got to know it just as well as you do. So there's some other options. Option 1 is 3, option 2 is the layup. Option 3 is the big hitting. I say options. These are options for us. We go through them. Option 4 might be a pass to the screener and with a handoff, dribble drive, and now you got 2 people on the post. You can hook back to the guy stepping in. You can go +1 to here. This defense is going to sink in, so now you can hook to the corner. Things of that nature, right? Sure. So, like you said, it goes back to what we talked about a few minutes ago. We're just really trying to teach the game of basketball, right? That's all we're trying to do. And then we'll do some screening action out of that once it all kind of gets taken away from us.
Yeah.
Any questions about that, Coach?
I love it, Coach. Now, do I call that Kings Ridge play or do I call that the Pickens play? What? So
we call it Mercer, right? Okay. And I call it Mercer because I learned this a long time ago. We were at a Mercer team camp when I was down at Glen Academy. We saw a team. They were killing people on this. And so we stole it from them. I don't even know who was running. I think it was Houston County. They don't even know that I took it from them. I just over there, hey, what's going on? And then the assistant coach and I are looking at it. He's actually the one that identified it. And he's like, Coach, we got to put this in. So yeah, we use it and we'll use it until it doesn't work anymore. Right.
Yeah. You know, what's funny you mentioned that. I know you're going to dive into more of your screening game here, but I mean, we always look for like great plays from like college pro teams. Man, there's some high school teams. I steal stuff from my opponents all the time. You know what I'm saying? Just listen,
Oh, yeah.
either plays or whatever they do. Do we do
Yeah.
enough of that?
I figure if you beat me on it, then I'm going to use it to beat somebody else.
That's right.
And that's where the, I've got some really like Cal Boyd from Mount Bethel. I steal stuff from him all the time. He runs some great baseline out of bounds plays. He does a phenomenal job of that. So I'll sneak some stuff from him every once in a while. He knows I do that because we use it against him eventually, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, he's really good. He makes us better every time we step on the court with him.
Yeah,
So I got to get these guys a
Cal
lot
on
of
the
love.
podcast.
Sorry.
I got to get Cal on the podcast now, man.
Cal, he's a tactician. He knows what he's doing. I always like Matt Hicksonball, Cal Boyd, Tarek Maben, St. Francis. They come prepared, ready to play.
Absolutely.
It's just tough. It's so hard. Coach Tasha Humphrey from over at where's she at? I'm drawing a blank here. She's in our region, but she runs very good stuff.
Yeah.
Very good stuff. But she played in the WNBA and she's a Hall of Famer at Gainesville and all that kind of stuff. So
yeah, for sure.
I steal a lot of stuff from her too. You want me to move on, Coach? You want to?
Yeah, Coach, go ahead. Go ahead.
I think I got like a couple more plays here.
Absolutely. Yeah, take your time.
This is a nice little highlight right here. That's fun for Jack. Jack puts a lot of time into his body. Now, this is a good one here.
Nice.
This is coming out of a sideline out of bounds play. I was watching this earlier today. I'm going to back this up just a touch more. So check this out, Coach.
Okay.
Here we go. All right, watch this. So Isaac comes off a cut here. Micah screens, right? So Isaac, he's just coming to an open space. This looks like Jack over here, and he's getting ready to space out here. Zach is hitting Isaac in high post, and Micah's just learned how to screen. He's very, very good screener. So what Mike is going to do is set a back screen, and we're going to create confusion here, and Jay's going to get caught here. Now, let's say Jay didn't get this ball. Micah would probably just know to space out to the wing and would probably end up flare screening for Zach.
Okay.
Right here.
Gotcha.
So let's watch how this develops. Isaac flashes high. Everybody spreads out, gets out of the way. And now we have this empty backside, and Jay just does a good job finishing.
Right.
And I'll say, Jay, he didn't finish like that on accident. He's in the gym a lot, right?
Mm-hmm.
But look at the spacing here. Micah goes out, Zach stays spaced, Isaac pops out, and now Jack stays spaced out. So even if he was caught, he probably would have been able to hit Jack in the corner, and we probably would have been able to work around the horn again somehow and find a second or third rotation that we could score on.
Mm-hmm.
So it's good finish by Jaden. Very
nice
by Jaden. And then this is just end of the game. We're just trying to spread it out and get somebody to lift up off the block. That's simple stuff right there. You don't need to see all that commercial time there, Coach.
Yeah.
But those are basically the 16 assists of our last game of the season, which kind of indicates and shows there was one early flare screen in there that we missed.
Okay.
But it's another
That's
thing.
good stuff.
I'll talk about it at the clinic. We'll break it down and show you how we get it.
That's great, Bob. Man, we really appreciate you diving into that, man. I mean, I know I stole 2 or 3 things and more. So I love that.
Yeah, I've had the best coaches around to work for and with.
Right.
They challenge me every day, and it's just a fun game for me. It's just a very fun game. I love it.
Bob, hey, before you go, what are you doing right now? I'm one of those that I study, like, what are in like 4-player workouts, and that's what we're doing now.
Yeah.
What do you do? What's your philosophy of 4-player workouts? I'm always curious. I really want to do 2 or 3 podcasts on 4-player workouts. Like, what's the best way to run them?
Since I do a motion offense, we do a lot of 2-on-2 to the side. So I'm the passer. And so that's bad because I'm the one passing the ball. They should be the one working on the pass. But what they get to learn to read is what the read is. They learn to curl, to flare, to give up on the screen and cut. I just try to put them through a lot of reps. They're going to fail a lot. They're just going to fail a lot. So 4-on-1 for me, it'll be a lot of footwork shooting. it'll be a lot of mass shooting. We'll pound the ball really hard.
Right.
And then we'll break it down into, we'll do all our shooting stuff. And then we'll talk about how hard they need to come off the screen, how unbalanced they have to be. I'm really big into footwork, like just really digging your toes into the ground and having a solid first step, and how you attack a body, how you attack somebody's hips, how you open their shoulders up, and what are you going to do once you get in that paint? Are you going to kill our offense by picking the ball up? Are you going to retreat, dribble, that kind of stuff? So we really break it down 2-on-2 and just teach them how to play 2-on-2 to the side. And then we'll do where they'll have to skip it over the top with a help defender. And then now that's where we play 1-on-1.
Okay.
So now the guy can catch and shoot on a lazy closeout. He can catch, rip and go on a high closeout, catch, rip and go middle on a low closeout. And then if the guy wants to help, I mean, I don't really force them to help. I just let them I say, play lazy, play aggressive, play deep help, play moderate help. I let them mix it up a little bit. And from there, they play. I do give them, to speed the game up, to speed our drill up, and kind of create a mindset. We always finish with everybody that shoots the ball, because a lot of kids will shoot it and miss, and then they'll be done, right? They just give up on the play.
Right.
I always add in, you get one offensive putback.
Okay.
And so now we're training kids to, when they miss, be in pursuit of the ball, go get it. And does that help us? I think it does. It teaches us not to give up on the play. I had an opportunity to work with a kid named Mitch Ganote. He played at Lambert. He's probably one of my all-time favorite players ever. And what he did, he was always in pursuit of something. He was always on the hunt, whether it was on defense or offense, and he never gave up. They were playing at the Jared Cook Classic. I wasn't there. I wasn't coaching there at the time, but I went to watch them play. They're down. He's shooting a free throw, and they're down. He has to miss it to score, right? He misses it. It's the only kid in the gym that could do this. Only kid. He misses it, and it's such a weird miss, but he's the guy that got his own rebound, put it in, and they go into overtime.
Yeah.
Right. But it was, so I really kind of learned from, I think he's one of the best. And so I just take things that he's done and try to put him into play. And I think giving him a one offensive rebound, you really find out who your fighters are. The guys that don't want to give up.
Yeah, no doubt. And I just to add to that, I really like not only get the offensive putback, what we teach is make the second shot, like score on the putback and then make another one. We call that just second jumps.
Yes.
Just
like
teaching our kids offensive putback. We miss a lot of shots. We're not like you, Coach. We miss a lot of shots, but we love to crash the boards.
I've got a couple really good rebounders here at Pickens, and they do get a lot of their own putbacks, their misses. They're very long, and they're always in pursuit. I don't know that I can coach that, honestly. I mean, that's your own personal mentality. That's kind of who you are as a human being. Aggressive, you want to get after it. Some guys give up and try to get it in another way, but I think most of the guys that are, you look at Zion Williamson. Yeah. Okay, is he a great shooter? What did he do in high school? He probably got his own misses a lot, right? Look at LeBron James. He got a lot of his own misses. I just remember watching him and watching film of him. He would take a jump shot, get a rebound, miss a layup, and then just dunk it on you.
That's right.
Okay, so now you have 2 rebounds and 2 points. There you go. So that's pretty awesome. No doubt about it. Yeah. So, but I wish I had a LeBron or Zion. That's easy too.
That's right. I'm hoping Zion comes back, Coach. I know he's had so many injuries. Yes. The league, I think, really needs him. He's just so not necessarily spectacular, but man, he's just so fun to watch, though, man. How athletic he is.
Yes.
Very unique player. Coach, I just want to remind all the coaches that are going to be listening, Coach Martin's going to be at the clinic, and he's going to really get into detail. We're going to have a demonstration team out there. He's going to be amongst so many of the state champions. So we're so excited to have Coach Martin. Thank you for coming on the podcast, and thank you for coming to the clinic. Talk a little bit about what you think of state champions coaches coming to the clinic, and share. What do you think about that?
Well, first of all, I'm honored to do this, right? I think it's great. I'm listening to your podcast. I just listened to Coach Slate the other day, your conversation with him and
Yes.
about culture and toughness and being selfless, that type of stuff. It means everything. Coach Mincy over Brookwood. I know we have a mutual friend in Betsy Harris, because she was down at, I think, down at Florida Southern with her.
Yes.
So a lot of respect. Jan Azar, I've had some great conversations with her. Of course, and then you have Charmin White. I mean, my goodness, I'll never catch up to him. But you know what? Whenever he says something, I listen, right?
That's right.
So on his every tweet, his every post. I just try to study the best. And listen, I'm not anywhere close to these folks. I'm a pretty lucky guy, but I'll take luck. It doesn't bother me at all. I'll take luck every day. I'm going to be like a kid in a candy shop, just listening. I'll just listen all day long, take my notes, and just steal stuff from everybody. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a blast.
It'll be a lot of fun, Coach. I consider you a great teacher of the game. We're very fortunate to have you in Georgia here, and we really appreciate you coming to share the game. Coach, thank you so much, and we're looking forward to seeing you at the clinic, Coach, man. So, hey, and if you know any other coaches in your area, please tell them, man. We have a great lineup of coaches, but
Absolutely
coming on.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Have a great evening.
All right.
And I'll see you soon.